Hello everybody and welcome back to Mining Modern and welcome to Green White Hatebears. That's right. So obviously I love brewing decks and I've been brewing a lot of decks with Guilds of Ravnica, but other people do a pretty good job at it as well, including TCGplayer's own Craig Wesco, who is basically the patron saint of decks exactly like this. So I'm sure he's focusing on standard. He's got Pro Tours coming up. He's got all this crazy stuff that, of course, as a pro, he's nobody concerned with, not necessarily modern. But me, I have nothing better to do than play this sweet deck he posted about. Knight of Autumn in Green White Hatebears. He believes it revolutionizes the deck a little bit and puts it into a much better position in Modern just because this card does so many things. It has so many abilities. It's a 2-1 for 3. Sure, sometimes it's a Reclamation Sage. Sometimes it gains you 4 life. Sometimes it's a 4-3 attacker. And you know what? We can bounce it with Flickerwisp and get the effect again. This card does so much work in this deck. And I'm excited to play it here. So here we go. This hand looks pretty reasonable. To good even. If we draw a Leonin Arbiter, that'd be real nice. So we've got mana, we've got a Vial, we've got removal, we got interaction. So no, our 2-drop of Scavenging Ooze isn't our best 2-drop, and we don't have a 1-drop or anything outside of the Vial. We don't have anything to put in off the Vial on 1 immediately. So we'll see how things go. Not sure what our opponent's up to either, of course. Wooded Foothills, huh? Guilds of Ravnica has been a lot of fun so far. I've enjoyed drafting it. I've enjoyed playing Sealed. I've enjoyed it in Modern. Standard seems great. Oh my gosh, we're getting infected. Okay. Fair enough. Alright then. I would like to use this ability. Temple Garden, huh? That's not a bad draw. I gotta decide what to do here though. I think the answer is just considering whether or not I can path in their upkeep. In their upkeep, they can't kick a Vines of Vastwood. But they could protect it still. Like, they'd have lots of cards to protect it. Obviously, that's why you don't really want to use your removal on Infect's main phase. But I think this could be a an exception. I don't think so, though. I think I'm just supposed to go ahead and path this stupid thing. Feels so bad, though. It's so mana inefficient. We have to... I mean, next turn we can Vial in our Scavenging Ooze. I guess it's not terribly different there. We're going to have Flickerwisp up as interaction with it as well. So, I'm tempted to be greedy here. But I'm going to do what I think is probably the right thing and just go ahead and path the Glistener Elf now while we can. I mean, you play a very dangerous game against Infect when you try to do it on their turn. And there are certainly circumstances where it can work out for you. I mean, there's lots of stuff our opponent could have had there. Hands they could keep or pathing that in their upkeep would work out for us. As opposed to just giving them extra mana like we've done here. But like I said, it's a dangerous game. Although, I can't say I expected Jace Friend's Prodigy over here. That's an interesting one. I guess I can maybe see the logic. I'm not sure. Why do I have to put this on the stack now? All right. Let's see. Yep. Take it on up. Selfless Spirit, huh? Okay. Let's see. Lots of stuff we could do. Probably just going to play my 4-3, though. I mean, I don't think we're going to be getting... Like I said, it's good in all situations, right? Knight of Autumn, I think it's just a 4-3. The life doesn't do anything. Don't think we want to kill anything. I think I'm just going to gain some... I'm just going to make a 4-3. Alright, well, this looks... Okay, I mean, we've got a 4-3 here. We get a Vial in the Scavenging Ooze. We get to attack for 6 next turn. Our opponent doesn't have an Infect creature. This doesn't seem great for them. And I think that's one of the other reasons why it's probably just always correct to do it in your main phase, because sometimes giving them extra mana doesn't matter. If they don't have any Infect creatures, they're not doing anything with those pump spells most of the time. So, heck, we might as well just go for it. And as you can see, they're just throwing away Become Immenses because they have nothing to use it on. So, I had to think that one through a little bit, but I think in the end made the discipline play that was also correct. And it's hopefully going to work out for us here. Alright, I would like to go ahead and take this up. We can gain more life if we wanted, I suppose. Although I think we could also stop them from flipping their Jace for a turn, right? They put this ability on the stack. Sorry, let me think this way. This is not relevant to this attack, so let's go and take our turn here first. But get on in there for 6, I guess. Yeah, when this is the worst case for your Knight of Autumn is that it's just a 4/3 for 3, that's pretty reasonable. Certainly puts pressure on our opponent here to find a way to kill us. We've got Flickerwisp up if they go for any kind of interaction. They might have Dismembers or something in their main deck. It's possible. I mean, it's unlikely, so we'll see. Alright, don't need to pay the life there, and I can just go ahead and play out this Selfless Spirit here. Represent Path, or we even have the Ghost Quarter if they end up with an Ink Moth, but they don't have one, so I'd say things are going pretty well for us. But yeah, the thing is, I think our opponent could put this ability on the stack, because transforming it into Jace Friend's Prodigy doesn't happen when you have 5 cards in your graveyard. It happens as a result of the loot, and you have to have 5 cards in your graveyard for that to be true. So, with the way this is going here, let's see what our opponent's going to do. They've got the Blighted Agent, huh? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, the way this is going, we could actually stop it. So that said, we have 4, 6, 8, 11. I just have lethal. So, I mean, I have to just do this and go for lethal. I should probably flicker their Blighted Agent and they just die, so it seems like it's probably what we're going to do. I guess they could have something to make it survive, which means they're burning a spell on it at least. Although, to be fair, that's not in our opponent's... I mean, it's not the end of the world for them. But instead, they're just going to die. Okay, that works for me. Alright. Yeah, Knight of Autumn for good measure. Why not? Love it. Okay. Well, that said, let's go ahead and attack for 11 here. Conveniently enough to kill them. Knight of Autumn, pretty good. That was having that 4 power for 3 there. Something you can't get out of a Reclamation Sage, by the way. Did everything we needed right there. Was exactly what we needed to end that game a turn earlier, not have to worry about it. So, all right, I think I want settles here. I think I can cut a Resto Angel. Honestly, this is one of the matchups for Knight of Autumn is at its worst. So Gaddock Teague is a non-bow with Settle. That means it does not combo with Settle. However, it does stop Becomaments from being played. They showed me Jace. They probably have Noble Hierarchs too. I guess maybe I can get a Limvala in here. Settle is unfortunately one of the few pieces of interaction we do have. I can cut the Scavenging Ooze. Let's see if we want anything else here. Rest in Peace, no. Stony Silence, no. Mirror Crusaders, protection from black and from green. That doesn't help. Restoration Angels, sure. Skoos, Thrun. It's all about the Gaddock Teagues, huh? Is Gaddock Teague better than anything here? I mean, is Gaddock Teague better than Scavenging Ooze? I'm just not convinced that having Gaddock Teague and turning off our own settles is worth turning off. I mean, it turns off 2 of our cards, but it turns off 4 of theirs. That said, theirs are less important. They have lots of things that do the same thing as that, whereas we only have settles that do settle the wreckage thing. So I think I'm just going to keep this. Go ahead and submit this one as is and see what happens. Alright, so we were fortunate enough to be on the play that last game, and that does make a big difference against Infect. Does this have a land in it? Oh no! If this hand had a land, it would have been so incredibly good. Ether Vial into Noble Hierarch, into Thalia's, plus removal. We are going to have to mulligan, though. I'm not that much of a madman to keep a 0-lander. In this circumstance, certainly done it before, actually. I think even on this stream. But, yeah, not worth it. Not worth it. Certainly not on your 7, anyways. Our opponent's in the tank, too, though. They mulliganed as well, and then so we're going to mulligan. I'm going to keep this. This hand's pretty nice, actually. It's not incredible, and, you know, we can easily lose with it, right? I mean, we could just never cast Settle. We could, you know, our opponent could have Spell Pierce or what have you. We're not... But all that said, I mean, this looks okay for us. I can't play the Noble Hierarch on turn 1. At least without seeing the top card of our library. So I think I'm going to bottom the Ghost Quarter. It's not a colored source, and we already have a Ghost Quarter, so we deal with the first Ink Moth already. So I think it's fine to go ahead and pitch that. But as is, I mean, we'll go Vial. And the downside is this is one of those games where without 2-drops, I actually would probably play the Noble instead of the Vial just to play Smasher or Splicer on turn 2 and start attacking for 4. Because that's what our deck needs to do in this matchup, right? That's not what you do in most matchups, but Thalia is pretty nice, though. Yeah, now that actually helps our hand out a little bit anyways. We can play the Hierarch off the Vial. We can play our land. We can play the Thalia. And Thalia, of course, it does tax us too, right? We have Settle in our hand after all, but I think it taxes us less than it taxes them. Excuse me. And we're probably, if we can just hit our lands anyways, right? I mean, we already have enough mana to cast Settle. Well, I guess not with Thalia in play, but we're only one land or, mana door draw away from just being able to play our Settle through our own Thalia anyway, so it doesn't seem like too much of a concern. Our opponent does have they do have the Ink Moth. I probably should have played the Gavany Township instead of the Ghost Quarter there, so as to not give that away. All right, well, this is a little scary, right? All right, well, if they come in with the Glistener Elf here, wow, I was gonna say I actually might have blocked, and make them have the mutagenic growth. Knight of Autumn, huh? So this is an artifact creature too, huh? Yeah, it's actually, so this actually has some value here, and that we can even kill this. That's pretty nice, to be honest. That said, it doesn't do as much right now, but the first thing we do is attack here. This turn is kind of dangerous, but we should be able to play our Blade Splicer, keep up Ghost Quarter, and then just throw something in front of the Glistener Elf. It's the Ink Moth I actually find much scarier, and we have the Ghost Quarter for it. So when they go to turn it into a creature, I will go ahead and Ghost Quarter it. And then next turn, if we hit land, well, if we're going to Ghost Quarter, we won't have Settle up, but we'll see how things work here. I mean, it's still not very good for our opponent to attack. I get to throw my Golem in front of it and make them burn a pump spell, and then we have a chump blocker later with the Blade Splicer itself. Not to mention the Knight of Autumn, which will come down and be able to blow up the Ink Moth. Now, again, that's not the time you want to try to kill it, but it is it's something that's on the table. And if we lose Thalia for whatever reason, we'll be able to play Settle the Wreckage. And of course, if they just don't, well, they are going to go for the Ink Moth, but that's fine. As I say, if they don't even go for the Ink Moth, then this is really awkward for our opponent here, because they can use the Ink Moth, they can use a Noble Hierarch to turn it into a land, but then they don't have something protected, or they can use itself to turn it into a land. They're just gonna die. Yep, that'll explain it, I guess. That'll do it. That makes sense. Like I said, what happens there is either our opponent uses the Noble Hierarch to turn this into a land in response, at which point it is a creature and they can use their creature protection spells on it, or they use it, but those cost mana, those cost colored mana, or they use itself to turn it into a creature in response, having colored mana from Noble Hierarch to protect it. But then what are they doing, right? They're burning a spell to protect their land that's going to be tapped. At the end of it, we get attacked for 1 billion. Yeah, we were going to be in perfectly fine shape throughout that game. So there you go, everybody. Death and Taxes. Green-White Hatebears, I guess, not Death and Taxes. Similar concept, but Hatebears taking down Infect. This is Mighty Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler. Thank you for watching. All right, everybody, here we go with some more Green-White Hatebears. And I'll tell you, this isn't a perfect hand, but it's pretty close. We've got the turn 1 Ether Vial. If this, the only way it could have been better is if we had a colored source here, so we could turn 2 Ghost Quarter somebody. We can't do that, but we're still going to have a nice turn. We're going a nice game plan here. Obviously, it gets better if we draw a colored source, but we can get a long way with our Ether Vial at least. So we can vial in this Leonin Arbiter in a couple turns here and get to wasteland them essentially. Well, or not, or take everything I said and forget it, as our opponent plays Inquisition of Kozilek here. All right, not sure what they're up to. We'll see. Bloodstained Mire into Shockland, and they actually took our Hierarchy. Yeah, that was the colored source I wanted. That said, we'll see. We have a probably pretty reasonable hand against them. It is unfortunate that we don't get to do anything here, but it'll be okay, I think. It is slow. It is very slow, our hand is, but it doesn't mean it's not good. I assume our opponent's on Grixis Death Shadow here. That seems the most likely, and they're just going to tear apart our hand, as you might expect. So we'll see. The Thalia is gone. Leonin Arbiter is still... Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I think our opponent's going to probably have a Death Shadow at the end of all of this, because they always do. It's going to make this game kind of tricky. That said, we'll see what happens. Our Blade Splicer's gone as well. Just like that, it's turn 3, and we have 2 cards. While only casting a single card. That feels pretty bad. I would like to use this ability. Oh my gosh. Well, I think we might have got our opponent here. This will work. They took... I'm sure they have... The only reason they would ignore the Leonin Arbiter is if they have plenty of lands, right? And that makes sense if they do, right? They don't care about getting Wastelanded once, but they might care about getting Wastelanded twice, I think. So, obviously we're not really going to have anything at the end of this. I mean, we're going to have our 2/2 Leonin Arbiter, and we're going to have this Knight of Autumn we can put in next turn, but you know what? That's a 2-turn clock. Put our opponent down to 9, then we can attack them for 6, and they're at 3. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, of course. They could just have Lightning Bolt. They've got the Lightning Bolt. I mean, they could just have everything. But I think this was realistically our best line to actually winning the game. Wow, that's actually not terrible. Oh no, I didn't want to do this. No! Undo! Oh no. Well, I kind of misclicked there. I don't know what I was doing. I just didn't fully think that through. It ultimately probably doesn't matter that much. I mean, it only matters if our opponent... They knew we had the Knight of Autumn. It pretty much only matters if they have a sorcery speed removal spell here. Wow, alright. Cycling Street Wraith, huh? Okay. Well, they did in fact have all of their lands, so our double wasteland plan wasn't bad, but maybe not great either. Alright. Is it Death Shadow? It is, because it's always a Death Shadow. That said, drawing Restoration Angel here is pretty nice. One of our more likely outs to actually winning the game. I certainly can't play that, so we're just going to pass the turn here. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is if our opponent comes in with the Death Shadow... Oh my gosh. Okay, down to... That's a 9/9. I mean, this is so good. I get to block, and now they're just tapping mana. If they attack... Wow, which they're not going to. Okay, sure. There's actually not even a reason to do this unless I wanted to gain life off of it. Which I maybe do. Because basically this is here solely to chump block at this point and hope that we can attack twice with this. So... And we're worried about Temur Battle Rage, right? Giving it double strike. Because I'm going to make it a 12/12. I'm just thinking this through here. I'm going to make it a 12/12 by attacking them for down to 1. And if they Battle Rage it, it'll have double strike and trample, which means you'd be attacking for 24, which would be our life total. But we could throw Knight of Autumn in front of it and only take 23. I think that's actually what I'm going to do. This is kind of counterintuitive, but I mean, if our opponent has a way to kill Restoration Angel, we're not going to win the game no matter what. But having this as a 2/1 that gained us 4 life is actually better than having it as a 4/3 if we decide that the only way we lose is getting Temur Battle Rage out of the game. So that said, we'll see what happens here. And Temple Garden's... Oh, Temple Garden's great! What am I talking about? Temple Garden's great. That means we can kill them. I was going to say, Temple Garden would completely throw that math off by having to shock ourselves. But you know what? It just means our Restoration Angel is lethal. Our opponent did 16 points of that work by themselves. Wow, look at that. All right. Thank you very much. That was nice. That was a nice game. I'm happy. All right, settle the wreckage, please. Mirren Crusaders, gosh, yes, get in here, please. Is this good against them? I'm not sure. Scavenging Ooze is pretty good. Thalia is pretty good. All of this looks pretty reasonable to me, to be honest. Do have to cut some stuff. I mean, awkwardly, Knight of Autumn may be one of our worst cards here, which feels kind of bad. I definitely need to cut something up here. I'm going to cut a settle. We have the paths and blockers. Our deck does a good job of just blocking, you know, and we don't really do ourselves a lot of damage, so Temur Battle Rage is a little less lethal against us than other people. That said, we still need to make a couple more cuts. And I don't know what the right answer is. Maybe I'm just supposed to cut all of these. You know, I boarded in... Yeah. It feels so bad to be like, I'm going to record with this deck because of this new card, which I love, and then for that card to be the card you want to board out. But, I mean, I think it is. All right, this hand looks nothing like our first hand, but I do like it. We have actually colored mana this game. We have a Thalia. I mean, keep in mind, our opponent is going to tear apart our hand. It's what they do. So, wow, or not. Oh my gosh, what a blowout. Come on, game. The one card we could draw there and not play, literal only card, was that Noble Hierarch. That's just going to be so awkward for the rest of the game because I don't know that I'm ever going to get a good chance to play it. I want to play my 2-drop next turn. I want to play my 3-drops the turn after that. I want to play Settle after that. I don't know if I'm ever going to get a chance to actually work in this Noble Hierarch. We were a little punished by the Stirring Wildwood, that's for sure. But that said, I mean, it's a creature land. It blocks flyers. I mean, it's a 3/4 for 3 mana. It's actually, I mean, it's pretty good stats on its own, especially in a deck like this that can trade resources a lot. And this is kind of annoying. All right, there's our Razorverge Thicket. Let's go ahead and play Thalia here. So the nice thing about playing our Thalia out here is that our opponent has that 1 mana open, but they can't Fatal Push anything. Most things we could play there, they could Fatal Push, but you can't Fatal Push a Thalia. That said, this Tasigur is going to be very good against us. They have the turn 2 4/5 with upside. That's the best part of it. It's not just a turn 2 4/5. It's a turn 2 4/5 with upside. So we'll see what happens here. We're going to be in a weird little race situation, but you know what? Mirren Crusader goes an extremely long way. So if our opponent does not have, and I'm sure they do probably, but I would say if they don't have a discard spell here, we could really punish them with Mirren Crusader. They did have the Fatal Push, and they had a Death Shadow. Wow, so we're actually going to get a Resolve Mirren Crusader. That is huge. Now, our opponent can still Lightning Bolt it. We did see Lightning Bolts in Game 1. So that's a thing they have. All that said, we are also setting... Somehow we're just getting to keep our entire hand here. But we're also setting up for this Settle the Wreck to be pretty good next turn. Also, since our opponent saw a Restoration Angel in Game 1, it makes sense that they play around... You know, they'd expect a Restoration Angel here, but not necessarily a Settle. And to be honest, if they don't have Lightning Bolt, they just can't do anything. Okay. I guess it's kind of a free attack because they can fetch themselves down here to make this a 5/5. And we can't actually kill it. I mean, Mirren Crusader is great, but it won't even actually kill this Death Shadow. So it is kind of a free attack for them. But it depends what they do with their turn here. You know, if they've got 3 cards left. If any of those cards are discard, then we might be in trouble. I mean, Inquisition of Kozilek wouldn't take our Settle, but they wouldn't know about it. But if they have basically any other combination of cards here, besides Stubborn Denial, which always gets everybody because that card is incredibly stupid, we might be in an okay spot. Also, our opponent's at 8, so that's a thing. A lot of choices right here because I could also do something else, right? I could attack for 4, Flickerwisp our Mirren Crusader, bring it back on our end step, and have Path to Exile up. I honestly think that might be a better play because we still have to worry about getting. I mean, I think that's probably the best play. We have to try to kill them while we can. We're going to lose to Temur Battle Rage no matter what we do in this game, I think. Though I think I like this play. I think I like this line. I think we're going to lose to a combination of Stubborn Denial and Temur Battle Rage no matter what we do. So we may as well take the line that can at least try to kill them next turn. And they will have to have Teamer Battle Rage. You can also throw the Flickerwisp in front of the Death Shadow. And for what it's worth, the Flickerwisp plus the Noble Hierarch would be lethal itself. Yeah, we've got a lot of different things going on here. Opponent's going to activate Tasigur. Okay. Well, this is hard. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, though. I think in my end step, I'm going to actually just path this thing. I can just beat this. The Death Shadow is the one that's going to kill us. So, with that in mind, maybe I give him Snapcaster Mage, because Snapcaster Push is really slow. That's just got to be bad. Yeah, I guess giving him Snap, that just ties it. Now, I'm just going to give him... I think I'm just going to give him Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting is obviously very powerful, but I mean those other cards are good too. A fetch land means that they can Fatal Push our Flickerwisp. Obviously, giving them Snapcaster Mage I just don't think is a good idea here. I think this line is pretty reasonable. All right, so we've got rid of the... Yeah, so we got rid of the Death Shadow, which means we can reasonably expect to... Well, that's pretty good against Flickerwisp. Flickerwisp is going to die. All that said, our opponent... Young Pyromancer is pretty good. This has to be a Fatal Push, and I am giving them a Fatal Push target here, I guess. But I still think I just have to attack. This is... Otherwise, I just get a... Well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that was wrong. Maybe I wasn't supposed to play this. All it did was give him a Fatal Push target. But it is... I mean, it gets us this trigger. Maybe it makes our opponent throw away their Pyromancer. Actually, is going to make them throw away the Pyromancer. Okay. I mean, it gives Liliana something to kill, but I think that kind of just is what it is. I don't think we're going to die, so there's no need to hold up Settle on this particular turn here. Our opponent's got to find an answer to Mirran Crusader, which means they have to find Lightning Bolt, and I find it... Okay, they're going to mill. That makes sense. They can get back Snapcaster Mage here. Or Young Pyromancer. It really depends on what all they have. I remember I can also fire up the Stirring Wildwood to attack if I want. Even if that's just a suicide play to get rid of Liliana or something. Yeah, this is starting to be kind of problematic, actually. They get the Pyromancer here. Now they just have any spells at all to get us. We need to draw a flyer that doesn't die to Liliana. And there goes our Settle. Yeah, I think we are no longer a favorite to win this game. I mean, we think we're going to have outs to get there. But I don't think we're a favorite. Our opponent has chump blockers forever now. We have essentially no ways to deal with them. This is good, though. Them attacking with this is good for us. In fact, it's very good for us. Depending on what their last card is, anyways. Let's see if we just hit something good. That was pretty good. As a matter of fact, it was great. I'm going to path the Pyromancer, and then I'm going to fire up the Wildwood and send them both at them, which is just lethal, by the way, if they don't have anything in their hand. So our opponent actually probably felt pretty good there. And they can still make extra chump blockers, but it's making it more and more awkward for them. Oh, they have Dismember, huh? Okay. That's fine, actually. That's just fine. I say it's just fine. I mean, it's not good for us. Our opponent's running out of spells to actually fuel. Their last card is the Faithless Looting? Or they already got... Oh, their last card's Faithless Looting, I think. Alright, well. I think we send both at them. Because if we attack Liliana, they can just, you know, let Liliana die or something and then have chump blocks again. I think we have nothing to do but send these at them. And the path on the Pyromancer is very good because it means they can't Liliana it back to their hand. So they're still in a position where they have to find an answer specifically to Mirror and Crusader or they're dead. I mean, Taskar can block this. Or they could, if their last card, but I think their last card, I think we know it being Faithless Looting. Oh, they found Lightning Bolt? No, that's not fair. That's not how it's supposed to go. And now they get a minus to get back a Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Lightning Bolt. I think that we've died. I guess we could rip Restoration Angel off the top, which we mostly got rid of. But, I mean, we're not just dead. I mean, we're pretty much just dead, though. Our opponent just top decked very well against us. Oh my gosh, and we drew Restoration Angel. The only problem with this Restoration Angel is that we are at lethal damage. We just die. We're one turn late. We're one turn late. Although they could Snapcaster Dismember. I mean, realistically, there's nothing we can do, I suppose, is the best way to put it. But if we'd had that last turn, we could have protected our Mirror and Crusader. What a close game. What a very close game. What do I not... What is... I guess they can have Thoughtseize. They won't be Thoughtseizing me anytime soon, I suppose. At 2 life over there. The issue is we're just dead. I mean, I'm going to fire up the Stirring Wildwood here to try to block this thing. Because chump blocking with Stirring Wildwood means, hey, maybe next turn we can put Vial on... Maybe we draw something else, so we put Vial on 3, but... Realistically, I don't think we have any way of getting back into the game. It would involve our opponent misplaying, which seems very unlikely. I hate Grixis Death Shadow. Oh, I hate playing against this deck. It's not like Tron levels of hate. This is just the deck I can never, ever, ever, ever beat. I guess the other line... Maybe there was another line there. Maybe I messed this up. Not to win, necessarily, but... Let's see if my opponent lets me... Well, they're actually just going to let me block, so it doesn't matter, but... Suppose they didn't have another black basic in their deck. I could have Ghost Quartered, say, this Watery Grave, because they have exactly enough mana right here to Snapcaster Dismember. Wow, and they're going to K command to make us discard. Yeah, that'll kill us too. Yeah, there was nothing we were ever going to do to win this one, I think. But it is worth considering. I could have Ghost Quartered them and... Well, no, I guess I could have just Snapcastered it in and then cast it later. So yeah, there was... Yeah, we were never going to get there. We were never going to get there. Okay, fair enough. I Lightning Bolt off the top, though. That was pretty good. Okay, so what do we want here? I mean, I still think it's still none of this is actually very good against him. Maybe I want Lymphala. Tassiger didn't give him too much value, but we also saw Grim Lavamancer, which is actually just kind of unbeatable. And it does have 4 toughness, which is in itself pretty strong. So I'm going to cut a Flickerwisp. Not because Flickerwisp is not good. It is very good, but because of just how utterly destroyed he gets by Liliana, the last hope. We'll give this one a shot. Yeah, this hand's kind of bad, but to be honest, I think it was... I don't know what the right word is to describe it, but I think it was abnormal last game that our opponent didn't have any discard. So I'm going to keep this hand because it has a Vial that we can get out immediately, and I just kind of assume that we're top decking regardless against our opponent because it's pretty reasonable to expect a bunch of discard from them. So at least in this case, if that happens, we can draw into stuff because we have lands, right? I think that this is a reasonable line to take. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and they're just never going to hit our hand and then we're just going to draw lands and look bad. But with that said, even if that is the case, Settle the Wreckage is a pretty nice one to have. We will see. Well, I am going to get punished, I guess. Yuck. Looks like our opponent's on the one big creature plan here on turn 2. I guess, well, if they have a fetch land, they still can do it. The very fair 1 mana 5/5s on turn 2, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, our opponent didn't have a land. They went 1 on bottom, 1 on top, so it means they obviously have... It doesn't auto-stack your abilities anymore. I'm so annoyed. I'm so tilted by this. Unreasonably tilted by Magic Online. Alright, so... The beginning of my upkeep... Which one are we on? Okay, so... Is this that one? I mean, the answer is yes, I guess, to both, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, Resto's not bad. I mean, I do like having a Restoration Angel, so... All in all, this hand kind of developed pretty reasonably, I think. It's kind of killer not having any pressure here, not having a Thalia or anything like that. Our opponent did find their land. Maybe I should just play the Flickerwisp to have an attacker. I don't know. Oh my gosh, never mind. Oh, that card is a beating. That card is really good against us. It is, in fact, why we boarded in the Linvala, as a matter of fact. We could draw a Scavenging Ooze, eat their graveyard. Or we could draw a land and do nothing like that. Oh, we have so many draws that would have just crushed what our opponent has going here, man. Imagine if we had a... I mean, I guess I've got a plan. It is to move to my end step. Then in the instep, Vial and the Flickerwisp, which will exile this until their instep. One of the tricks you can do with the deck. So that'll buy us a little time. We have the Restoration Angel to try to protect the Flickerwisp as well. Maybe we can just... Maybe we'll just be able to fly over our opponent's head and kill him. I mean, it's certainly possible. But there were just a lot of draws our deck could have had that would have just really punished this, nothing. Miss a land drop, turn 3 Lavamancer. But we'll see. This Grixis Death Shadow is essentially a legacy deck. And it's a kind of deck if Preordain or Ponder were legal, would just be 1000% the best deck in the format, unbeatable. But with those banned, then it's at least a reasonable deck. It's very, very good. It is a legacy deck, just the way it works. Down to even playing the... even down to playing the... sorry, lost my train of thought there. Just a second. Let me save my thing here. We actually get another trigger with this for what it's worth. I don't think that matters too much, but... Oh, no, yes, it does. I get to blink something to my instep? Nice! Nice play. We get to blink their Blood Crypt in the instep and protect our creature from Lightning Bolt. What a great play. Look at this. We're going to pass the turn back to our opponent, having exiled 2 of their cards until the instep. Now, I don't know if that's enough for us to win. It's, looks like it might not be, but hey, it was cool. It was very cool. That's pretty funny. Down to the Kolaghan's command is what I was saying. The deck it's exactly like a check pile deck in Legacy, only with slightly less powerful cards. Oh, and they even have the Fatal Push to punish us for our cool play. They have Revolt to kill everything we have, so the game's just over. Oh no, they didn't have it yet. Oh, it left last turn. They messed up. Oh my gosh, everybody's off kilter here. Although there's nothing our opponent could have done like that. That would have never worked. Actually, they never had anything leave the battlefield that turn. We've only worked on our instep when they were out of mana. So all right, we got life, I guess. I mean, they still have 4 cards in hand, and Settle the Wreckage, as much as I love it, I don't know if it's going to be the most useful of cards in this particular instance. That said, I do like that. I'm going to keep this Temple Garden in my hand for the purposes of discarding Kolagon's command, although I don't expect that to be a play they're going to make. It is something that we can do. I could also blink their Grim Lavamancer yet again. In fact, I think I will. I think that's better than trying to save our Restoration Angel from something, because otherwise a Grim Lavamancer, no matter, even if we save Restoration Angel, Grim Lavamancer will take out Flickerwisp. So I think instead we should use Flickerwisp to get rid of Grim Lavamancer again. Wow, this is the thing. Flickerwisp is just such an annoying card. I mean, it just doesn't seem like much, and to be honest, it sometimes isn't much, right? But, man, is it just kind of hilarious in this particular circumstance. You know, I actually maybe should have just played the Temple Garden and fired up the Stirring Wildwood and gotten in for an additional 3 damage. In fact, that looks like quite the misplay now, because we would have lethal in the air this turn. So, alright, lesson learned. Lesson learned. Didn't think it through. I was so excited about what we drew and trying to play around the Kolagon's command they had last game that I didn't completely think about that. Now it doesn't really do us much good to fire it up. But it doesn't hurt to represent it as a blocker either. Yeah, I mean, that was a big difference. It was a big swing. I mean, to be fair, my opponent kind of threw a little bit with their place, so... yeah, I mean... You can definitely make the argument that I'm dumb and messed up because I did, but you can also make the argument that it may not change whatever the outcome of the game, quote-unquote, should have been. So, that said, we do have a 4 toughness creature that does represent lethal damage next turn, and if our opponent just comes in and goes for the kill, we have Settle the Wreckage. So what I would love more than anything here is for our opponent to cast Temur Battle Rage, get Settle the Wreckage, and lose the game. I think they just didn't have anything. All right, there you go. Instead, they just had nothing. It really is too bad for them, actually, with that Fatal Push, too, because they could have Grim Lavamancer to kill itself, and then Fatal Push if they hadn't burned it. But you know what? They got punished for their mistake. We did not. Although, that said, if they made that play, right, let's assume they had this in hand, and they Grim Lavamancer itself, then we still have this in play. So that's actually just not even a line that would have got them there. And meanwhile, we had Settled the Wreckage even if they had Temur Battle Rage. What a great match, everybody. They did it. I said this is the deck I can never beat, and we did it. We got there. All it took was a couple nice draw steps in a row. Just Flickerwisp shenanigans. Unreal. There you go, everybody. Thank you for watching. This is Mighty Modern. All right, here we go with some more green-white Hatebears. This is actually, I think, the worst of our draws all night, but I think this is pretty reasonable here. We've got a turn beat on the play, especially. I mean, this sort of hand would be kind of killer on the draw, but on the play, I think it's much better. That said, our opponent, we draw our Aether Vial on turn 2, and our opponent is probably going to have turn 3 Tron on us. That said, we can at least play this Thalia out here. I'm basically going to give up on the Aether Vial here, which is obviously not ideal, but I think it's pretty fine. They do have turn 2 Tron, because they always have turn 3 Tron. But fortunately, we do at least have Ghost Quarter, so we still get to play the game here a little bit. So let's think here. So I actually said I was going to give up on the Aether Vial, but that is no longer the case, given that we need a Ghost Quarter this Urza's mine on out of here. Yeah, this sucks, but it's just kind of what you got to do against Tron. That said, things like Leonin Arbiter are insane here, so we will see what we can do. I mean, this hand is questionable at best, I would say, where we're at right now anyways. It's just always killer when you get forced, and when the games where Tron has turn 3 Tron, and obviously we don't know if they have an answer. Sometimes they have Tron, but they don't have a threat. But it's just the games where they have turn 3 Tron and they don't are just unreal in the way they make you play the game. Because almost anything else, I can take a shot there, right? And I can just play my Blade Splicer and have some damage down on the table. But against Tron, they could just have the Karn and then you lose the game. You just can't ever take the risk. You just always have to Ghost Quarter them, no matter how bad it feels. So that's where we're at. That said, ooh, okay. That said, the upside here is that we actually drew Leonin Arbiter. And we got our Vial down because we were forced to take that line. So the Vial, you know, maybe not super relevant yet. It may not be relevant ever, but it's certainly not bad. And now we get to add a Leonin Arbiter to the board, which is pretty good considering they just took an Expedition map off of that Ancient Stirring. So Expedition map, not unusable, but much, much worse. So let's see what they have for 3 mana here. Okay, bad news, friend. Sylvan Scrying does not work there. You needed, and maybe they didn't understand how this works. Leonin Arbiter, if you play this card in Magic Online, it's a very odd card. You would think that you cast, this is certainly what I thought the first time, that you would cast a spell, at which point you then choose whether or not to pay, but that's actually not how it works. Look, I can click on this. What this is it's an ability similar to Nullhide Ferox, a new card from Guilds of Ravnica, that anybody can pay. And in order to activate on Magic Online, you actually have to click Leonin Arbiter and do it, just like it was, you know, any other activated ability, right? Except in this case, sometimes you have to click on your opponent's Leonin Arbiter to do that. So that can be pretty frustrating, and I've certainly been there myself. That said, I'm just going to go ahead and Blade Splicer and Hierarch here. I mean, our opponent didn't have Tron yet, so... And they're still getting taxed by Thalia. There's no reason, I think, for us not to just play out everything. Attack here for, unfortunately, not a ton of damage. I mean, only 4 damage. Puts our opponent down to 12. Next turn, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is, again, not lethal. Let's see what this is. 3 mana. I don't know. Okay, it's the map. Okay, I'm not sure whether extra mana went there, but okay, I will take it. This is going to work out pretty well for us here. I think we've got this game pretty much locked up because of the same weird trick we had last game. I suppose I should pop my Horizon Canopy since it's not going to change what I'm going to do here. Yeah, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set a stop in my end step. Let's see here. Well, I could play this other Blade Splicer if I wanted. I don't think that I do, though. I don't think that really does us anything. We have lethal anyways. All right, so what I'm going to do is in my end step, I'm going to activate my Aether Vial. I'm going to put in Flickerwisp. Flickerwisp enters play, targets the Urza's whatever, it doesn't really matter here. I guess I'll target the Urza's power plant because it's a stupid bug. Seriously, this art makes no sense at all. Literally at all. Like, how does... I've talked about this before on here. It's been a while, but I still don't understand how electrocuting a bug somehow makes more mana than your world should make. But regardless, it's gone forever now. No, really. So Flickerwisp brings it back at the beginning of the next end step. So by putting it into play in our end step, thanks to Aether Vial, that land doesn't even come into play until their end step, which means even if they had a way to get Tron there, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. And just like that, everybody, we took down Tron. Did it. It always feels good. And now we get a nice sideboard here. Nice sideboard for Tron. Please, get on in here. Stony Silences. Gaddock Teagues. I'll even take Knight of Autumns here. Yeah, they're going to Reclamation Sage some stuff. I kind of like most of this, to be honest. I mean, I think we can probably trim at the edges here. Our opponent's probably not really going to have spot removal. Restoration Angel as a flash attacker is fine. But I think we can cut the oozes. I don't really think we need Thrun. Selfless Spirits are good because of Oblivion Stone. Obviously, the rest of this is very good against our opponent. Gaddock Teague is just huge. It can limit what they play to Wormcoil Engines because non-creature spells 4 or greater cannot be cast, as well as cards with X in their mana cost. But this means no Tron, no Karn, no Ugin, which is really a scary one. And then obviously, of course, we also have Stony Silences, which are very good against them. So, rest in pieces, don't need them. Blade Splicer, Crusaders, Angels, Umvala, Settle. Yeah, I don't think we need any of this. This deck looks pretty good. Like I said, Knight of Autumn is one of the cards that makes a big difference in the matchup. And in game 1, even. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping this. Anything that has Ghost... Yeah, this hand is great. Knight of Autumn is a big deal. And really what it does is it allows you to play a main deck card that gives you some outs. Imagine, and it didn't necessarily come up that game, right? But a game that isn't unreasonable to have happen where your opponent has an expedition map and you have a noble hierarch and you're on the play or whatever, and you're gonna blow it up. It's just great, right? So now we get to it's decision time for us. Our opponent played a land. They played an expedition map now. I could Ghost Quarter them now. Without a Leonin Arbiter in play. Which feels pretty bad. I could also just play Stony Silence to keep them from activating this. It also limits the payoffs that they could have. All of that said, if our opponent has truly natural Tron where they've just drawn all 3 pieces and they just play Karn, we would have just pretty much lost the game on the spot. Fortunately, that did not happen. And now our opponent... Oh my gosh. Our opponent's in quite a bit of trouble now. I get to play Leonin Arbiter here. I guess it actually doesn't hit them. That's interesting. Okay. I guess they could actually just pay for it. So maybe... Although it still gets rid of a Tron piece. If they didn't have it last turn, they probably don't have it this turn, right? This is kind of difficult, actually, right? Because think this through. Maybe if that's what I was going to do, maybe I shouldn't even have done it. But they could just pay and have their forest. But it would keep them from having Tron. But if they didn't have Tron this turn, that means they would have had to, literally on their top deck, rip an Urza's Tower to punish us here. And even then, they have to punish us with... Well, I mean, most of them still punish us, but it really just has to be a Planeswalker at that point. Although it could be either Planeswalker. Or they slow rolled us because they have natural Tron, but they have Ugin in hand. I just talked myself into doing it. I'm killing this stupid bug again. That's kind of a hard choice there, but it's also reasonable to think that, and I realize we didn't really do much here, but we got a Tron piece off the board. It's also, I mean, it is reasonable to think that our opponent had Ugin in hand instead of a 7 mana or 6 mana payoff, and therefore wouldn't have been able to do anything with the Tron anyways, and were slow rolling us so that they could have the forest make us think they don't have it, don't Ghost Quarter them or whatever, and then they just play Ugin because that's what they had all along. That is certainly a possibility. That said, I think we're in the clear now. Well, I could hit the Urza's Mine. The problem is if I hit Urza's Mine, we don't do anything. So I don't think I can. Trust me, I would love to just play the second Arbiter and Ghost Quarter this Urza's Mine, but we actually need to be able to kill them or nothing we're doing matters. So I think I have to play my 3-drop here. That would have just been... It would have been cool, right? But they're not at risk of assembling Tron. It just would have just been very dangerous for very little payoff. I just have to try to kill them. And now they're going to kill our Golem. But if we can hit... We're getting a little hosed by not having our colors here. It's not the first time it's happened to me either. I mean, I don't think it's... I understand why Gathering Township's in the deck, but... I'm honestly considering just pathing my own thing here. I shouldn't do that, right? I should just play the Leonin Arbiter, but... There's a lot of our hand we can't play. But this adds the most power in the quickest fashion. If our opponent does something scary, we can still Ghost Quarter them. I mean, the second path is, you know, medium at best is also the thing. But we could just... Okay, now I'm definitely just going to path my stupid... Yeah, I'm just going to attack and pass. I'm just going to path this Blade Splicer, I guess, and go get in Plains. I mean, I think we have all the tools we need to win this game if we can just cast them. Obviously, I'd love to hit a colored source and get to do cool stuff, but I think this incredibly boring, slow line of play here is actually just what we want to do to win. So I'm actually just going to path my Blade Splicer. Oh, but I messed up my own. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I messed up my own. Oh no. Oh, I quit. Oh, I quit. I'm just returning the favor. Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. For those of you who are curious, I did not hold down Control as I meant to. I held down Shift. So, the dangers of playing Magic Online, everybody. I mean, I could do it again, but that would have locked up the game. We would have got a Plains, we would have just slammed Gaddock Teeg, and our opponent wouldn't have been able to do anything. Alright, let's see what they got for 4 mana here. Is it Karn? Karn's actually pretty good. I cannot believe I messed that up so badly. Oh no, it's even worse. It's Walking Ballista. It does not feel good, everybody, I'll tell you that much. Can I just hit a land? It just stop punishing. Like, don't. Oh my gosh. This is absurd. I'm so bad. Oh no. Oh no. We had everything we needed to win the game. Although I say that, all we would have done is play Gaddock Teeg, and Gaddock Teeg would have got shot by Walking Ballista, but I'm legitimately just going to never hit lands and lose the game, I think. Alright. If my opponent goes to shoot Selfless Spirit, as you would expect them to, then I'm going to Path to Exile it, and I'm going to do it the right way this time. Unfortunately, I think I may have to path the stupid Ballista so it doesn't shoot down everything on our board. And my opponent's tapped out, I'm just going to do that. This feels so bad. I have not played... Well, I think I should have been brave enough to just path my thing one turn earlier. And given that... And now I'm just going to do this. I probably should have done this already. While they're tapped out, I should have just pathed that thing in the main phase and attacked. I'm sorry I played the thing is, we won the game and I just feel bad anyways. The thing is, it's how you gotta be, and this is a real thing, right? And this is something that's much harder when you're talking through stuff. Sometimes one mistake just cascades into another mistake, and that's exactly what just happened. I just kind of went on tilt a little bit from hitting the wrong button when I wanted to search off of my own stuff, and then I didn't fully think that turn through. And you can just see how those mistakes, and this is something you have to watch out for when you're playing real Magic and in paper. It can happen a lot, and a lot of times you don't notice it. See, I kind of noticed these because I talked them out, right? And I know that there's, all the YouTube commenters just telling me how bad I am, and that's fine. I certainly played very poorly in that game. But I think sort of the psychology behind it is something that, you watching at home, you can learn from my mistakes. Don't be as bad as me. Just take a breath after you make a mistake like that. Don't be like, oh, I'm so bad. Don't tilt off. Don't complain. Even to yourself, even in your own mind if you're playing. Just deep breath. I made a mistake. What am I going to do now? Don't think about the people who are going to watch on YouTube and tell you how bad you are. Don't think about your friends behind you watching. Don't think about how this impacts your top 8 chances. Just everybody makes mistakes. Not everybody responds to them the same way, but the best players in the world understand how to take a mistake, compartmentalize it, essentially just forget about it and move on. It's the same as any great play you make. You can't be like, I made such a great play. I'm just supposed to top 8 now. I'm going to make out of the great plays. Each thing's its own thing. If you make a mistake, accept it and move on. Don't let it become 2 other mistakes like I just did there. And obviously we had what we needed to win the game regardless, but that's besides the point. So there you go, everybody. I don't know if that's what you wanted to learn from this match, but we beat Tron, so that is, I'll take it however I can get it, and hopefully you'll learn from my mistakes. Thank you for watching, everybody. This deck's pretty cool. Shout out to Craig Wesco for writing about it. Check it out. I think tax effects like this are in a pretty good spot in Modern, and Knight of Autumn does quite a bit to give the deck a lot of game and a bunch of different matchups it didn't have before, especially with Flickerwisp and Restoration Angel to get multiple uses out of it. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Deck Tech for Green White Hatebears. So Craig Wesco wrote about this a few weeks ago, and I wanted to show it off. One, because I love decks like this. I enjoy green decks that are sort of... this is more of a white deck than a green deck, but generally I like decks like this. And I love Knight of Autumn. This is one of my favorite cards in the set. I would love to see more cards like this. It's just so good. It does so much. When it enters battlefield, choose 1. Put 2 counters on it. So at worst... it's a 4/3. Sometimes it's a Reclamation Sage. Destroys an artifact or enchantment. Sometimes you gain life. It's very, very powerful. So, We also, by the way, have Restoration Angels to blanket in this version of the deck, and Flickerwisp. So this is a Hatebears deck. And Craig was very high on this deck's place in Modern right now, specifically because of Knight of Autumn. Think about the things that were bad for your deck before. You'd have trouble interacting with artifacts or enchantments. You could sometimes get run over by aggressive decks. Sometimes against combo decks, you didn't have quite enough to get there. This just solves so many problems all in one. Knight of Autumn does. It's either just a huge beater when you need it, or it just get a lot of interaction that this deck really needed in a way that interacts with the board. You know, it had lots of ways to interact with people's mana or creature combat. You know, things like Blade Splicer, Flickerwisp, etc. But sometimes just had a hard time just dealing with problematic permanents. This goes a long way to clean that up. So huge fan of Knight of Autumn. So the deck besides that, this deck preys on people's mana. Noble Hierarch gets it started off. Aether Vial to cheat on our own mana, but Leonin Arbiter is the hero here. Leonin Arbiter plus Ghost Quarter. Yeah, that means your opponents do not get to search. They do not get lands. They do not pass go. They do not collect anything, and they lose. You just blow up their mana over and over again. After that, you just beat them down. Blade Splicer, Flickerwisps, Thalias to tax them some more. It's just a really... It's a lot more disruption than it looks. You know, look at it on its face. Doesn't seem like much, right? It's just kind of a deck, right? It's just got some cards, and they do some stuff. But the package, this is really one of those decks where... the total is much greater than the sum of its parts. It's really cool in that way. So, yeah, it's a pretty fun one. Love playing it. Rising Canopies, you can draw the cards. Good mana since you're in green-white, 2 colors, so you can get a place 3 in Wildwood. Brand new Temple Gardens with incredible art, I might add. Love it. All right, so on to the sideboard. Gaddock Teague, again, helps in those combo matchups. Thrun and Mirror Crusader for the different kinds of, you know, Mirror Crusader against black-green, that sort of stuff of Assassin's Trophy decks. Rest in peace, Stony Silence, Grafdigger's Cage for the relevant matchups. And unlike most green-white decks, we're actually not really punished by Grafdigger's Cage here. We have no chords, we have no companies, nothing like that. Limvala, just because this card's awesome. And I love this one, Settle the Wreckage. I even put a second copy into the sideboard that Craig had because I love it. No one expects this card in Modern yet. And if they do, they expect it out of blue-white control or Esper control or Jeskai, whatever, right? They do not expect it out of a deck like this, and that's why it's a huge blowout. All right, so if you just tuned in and you're watching this before the games, enjoy. I hope they're good ones. If not, thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next week on Mighty Modern.